Hey folks, how's it going? It's Evantz Saint-Gerard and you're watching At the Table. Today's guest is Eric Firestone, a real estate attorney. Eric, thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Eric, could you give us a little idea of how long have you been in the business?
Been in the business 23 years. 23
years. And do you have, how many people working with you on your team?
Right now it's myself and 4 paralegals.
Okay, and besides real estate law, do you practice anything else?
No, we are a dedicated real estate law firm. We handle purchases and sales, residential and commercial, as well as residential and commercial leases.
Okay. Now, walk us through the process of either buying or selling real estate. What exactly, when do you get involved and how do you get involved?
Usually, as an attorney, I get involved when there's an accepted offer on a property, and either the purchaser or the seller will call me to retain me. And once they do, at that point then, we will get started on the process. Usually a home inspection is done first. Once the home inspection is done and everything looks good and all issues have been resolved, at that point, if I'm a seller's attorney, I will be sending out contracts of sale to the purchaser's attorney right away. And conversely, if I'm a purchaser's attorney, I'll be requesting contracts from the seller's attorney.
Okay, so let's say that we have the contract right now, we're moving forward, the buyer or seller, they're both moving forward. What point basically do you order title, and what's after that, after the title's ordered?
Well, we order title as a purchaser's attorney once the contract is fully executed. We want to get a head start on things to make sure that if anything issues pop up on title, that we can take care of it well in advance of closing so it doesn't delay the closing.
Okay, and on the seller side?
And on the seller side, we wait for the purchaser's attorney to order title. Once we get title ordered, then we review it right away to make sure that there are no issues with title that might interfere with the purchaser giving the seller rather giving the purchaser 100% ownership interest in the property, free of all liens and encumbrances and violations.
Okay, so at this point, basically, as you're doing all this, they're going through their mortgage or whatever financial situation they're going through, and they get the clear to close. At what point do you get involved again in this situation?
Once the purchaser has a clear to close from their lender,
yes,
and title is clear on the seller side, and we order our payoffs for the seller, and then we schedule the closing. And then at the table, depending if I'm representing a seller or purchaser, we go over the closing documents. Obviously, a purchaser who's getting financing has a lot more documents to sign than a seller. They have to go through all the mortgage documents. So it's very important as a purchaser's attorney that I sit down with the client, go over all of the mortgage documents, explain the importance of them, and basically what the significance is of each document, and then review the deed with them, make sure that they're taking title properly, and go over all the numbers, make sure that they brought the proper checks, and then at the end we get a copy of all the documents we signed, and hopefully get the keys. On the seller side, we sign the deed, the transfer documents, some title documents, maybe a couple of documents that their lender may have, and we wait for the purchaser to be done. In the meantime, I'll go over all the numbers with my seller, make sure that they understand what their closing costs are, including their payoffs and fees, and make sure that what's on the closing statement in terms of the bottom line is equal to what they're getting down to the penny.
Okay, sounds very thorough. I know that you guys also call the buyers and sellers before the actual closing, and you instruct exactly what you just mentioned. Is there any special things that you tell the buyer in this case, basically what to expect, how much they should bring?
Well, the purchaser especially, first of all, we call them and we let them know that we have a closing date set up, and it's very important that they do a final walkthrough before the closing, to make sure that they go into the house and the house is in substantially the same condition as it was at the time they signed the contract. If there were any repairs that had to be done by the seller, make sure those repairs are done. A final walkthrough should be very thorough. It shouldn't be rushed. They should be able to make sure that all the systems are working and that everything is in the condition that it should be. And then what we do is, once that's done, we make sure also that the purchaser brings the proper checks to the closing. So we let them know how much they have to bring, why they have to bring that amount of money, and who the checks have to be paid out to.
Okay, so now all that's done, we have the keys are exchanged, and at this point, what do you do?
I say congratulations to both sides, and everybody gets together and takes a picture.
All right, awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. Tune in for the next episodes that we have coming in. If you have any questions regarding anything real estate related, buying and selling, feel free to give me a call, or you can also call Eric at his office, and your numbers basically will be at the end of this video. Tune in next time.